Okay, I am Dov Ben Shor, or Ibn Shor, depending on who you talk to. And I live in Ma'ale Hever, which is a yeshuv, a village in the southern hills of Hebron in English,
yes.
Right? About 10 kilometers southeast of Kiryat Arba, Hebron itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just on the other side of the Jordan is the country of Jordan, place of Menashe, Reuven. Right? We're in the Shevet. We're in the tribal inheritance of Yehuda, and
where are we physically sitting at this moment?
in my living room, dining room, my dining room house, and also bedroom actually on certain occasions.
And Gadon mentioned that we're on a farm, so tell us about what's happening right around the house.
Well, it's not exactly a farm. We have a quarter of a dunam, which is about an eighth of an acre, if I'm not mistaken. And so we have a few sheep, and we have chickens, and I used to have a larger farm down below, and I may actually go back to trying to do something again. I don't want to get into that story, but I just got a hold of the ancient wheat.
Where do you get a hold of that from?
Someone thinks it's ancient wheat. He gave me some seeds of something that's supposed to be based on what the wheat was at the time of at least the Second Temple period, most likely the First Temple period. And I want to try and grow that, though it's a little late in the season to grow it now, so we're going to have it for next year because I didn't get to it in time. But I want to put out a field of, I have probably worth about a half an acre of seeds to do some wheat. I used to grow wheat and barley down below. And the idea of justice, the fact that the phrase that bothers me the most that they've been banding around is this: we're a state of law and order. Am Yisrael is not supposed to be a state of law and order. We're supposed to be we're supposed to be a people of tzedek and mishpat, of justice and righteousness. Right? That's not law and order. You can have a very lawful, orderly state and be on the other side of justice and righteousness.
As we know.
I don't need to bring examples, right? But that's not our destiny. Our destiny is to be justice and righteousness, and that's the difference between Shaul and David. And Ken Tzadika. Because Shaul was he brought a lot of good stuff to Israel, and you can't mizazel what he did. But he brought order, and he brought Am Yisrael was like he gave a renewal with the police team and all these things. But at the same time, you see that his idea was on shlita, and the irony should not be lost. The uncanny irony that Shaul HaMelech, who became so jealous about his rule and things like this, also basically destroyed the Mishkan at Nov. Right? He stopped true Jewish worship. Don't relate it to today's events, of course. Right? David, on the other hand, when he when he saw that the Am is in trouble and there's a Megifah on this, what does he do? He buys the plot on Harabayit and brings Korban.
Right? Wait. Saul stopped worship.
Well, he didn't stop worship so much.
He restricted.
The idea of a place of central worship, he destroyed. He destroyed the Mishkan at Nov.
I'm sorry. What is that? What's the Mishkan at Nov?
The tabernacle.
At the city of Nob. N-O-B, I think. N-O-B, I think. In English, whatever. When he was looking for David, and he was hanging on the rule of law and the fact that all these conspirators and all these things and everybody's against me, and he killed the Kohanim. And who is it that kills the Kohanim? Because the main soldiers of Shaul weren't willing to do it. Doeg Adomi.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. The
Edomite.
The Ger. Right. This is why Gerim aren't supposed to be in positions of judge, because they stick to the law and the rule, and this is why they can't be judges, because a judge in Israel is not supposed to be only law. One of the things that we learn in Hosh Mishpat, one of the four, the section of Jewish law that deals with running of the courts and education of of monetary and civil, both civil and criminal. One of the things that a judge is supposed to do is he's supposed to know the law. He has to know the law, but he's supposed to come to a compromise close to the law, not actually necessarily be the law. He's supposed to come to something that's close that deals. And the same thing with the idea of the Beit Din HaGadol, the Supreme Court, the Jewish Supreme Court, the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem, never actually, except for very few things, actually made a decision, applied a decision. Actually, what they did is when a local court couldn't decide something, they didn't know the law, they would go up to Jerusalem, find out what the law was, and then it would be thrown back to the lower courts to apply it to the locality. Because everything in Judaism, Jewish law, is supposed to be local friendly. It's supposed to be based on the local tribe, based on the customs around. There is an idea of a central cohesiveness in a central place of worship of Hashem. But as far as expression of the law, it was supposed to be local, right? This is why you have judges and police in every gate. Having just police in every gate, like Netanyahu wants to do within the Arab towns, that's an idea. That's a form of oppression. That's a form of police state. Not saying that he's thinking along repression. He's actually thinking for their good. I'm not trying to mizazel. But at the same time, the idea of just putting police, and especially not even local police, but without having a form of understanding and applying the law to the locality, is a form of top-down statism. And statism is not Judaism. That's my thesis. That's what I'm writing right now.
That's one blog post.
Yeah, well, it probably will be pared down a lot.